Sheldon Primus.
Welcome to the Safety Consultant Show with Sheldon Primus, where we blend safety smarts with business brilliance and a pinch of Sheldon's signature wit. Whether you're a safety pro, a fresh-faced consultant, or just safety curious, get ready for a show that'll educate, entertain, and elevate your safety game. Let's dive into the art of consulting with your safety Sherpa himself, Sheldon Primus.
This episode is powered by Safety FM.
All right, everybody, welcome to the show. Another episode of the Safety Consultant with Sheldon Primus podcast. How y'all been? I'm doing okay. Been back in the U.S. for a little while now. Just hanging out. And I actually had an idea for an episode I'm going to do today. Because a lot of people don't know that you could still do remote work. And remote work to us as consultants is pretty cool. I am myself one of those consultants that I try to travel as much as I can. And if you do not know my story, I sold my house in 2017, and we're now recording at March 27th, 2025. So it's been a while. And what that decision was is I wanted to truly go remote and just travel, but also still sustain a business. I think it's still possible, even though you hear stories about people coming back into the workforce and physically having to go to work again, and everybody's thinking that efficiency has gone down with remote work and all that other stuff you may have heard before. I actually know for sure that there's still remote jobs available, because I pulled up a few for you guys too. But it's not just finding the job, though. There's a whole bunch of things that go with it. So this episode, I'm really going to give you guys some ideas, to think about, tell you a little bit about how I made my transition, and see if that might spark you to at least try to find some more work that you could do that is independent of location. And it could also be, you could be in the very same location, but remote work. Literally, you could get work outside of your zip code or outside of your commute area. And that's extra money, right? So there's two ways of going about remote work full-time, remote work just to kind of, fill the gaps a little, right? That's the key, because right now, the economy, we need some more money, right? So let's go ahead and see if I could help you guys out. So, and Agrosphere has also sponsored this episode, and I want to thank you guys for sponsoring that. Just go ahead and go to agrosphere.com, and you can learn about their EHS software systems. Pretty cool. Good guys too. I was able to have a couple guys as students in the past, and now they're sponsors, which is awesome. So let me give you guys my story. Back in well, first it started with, I was going through school while I was working full-time, and working full-time as an adult, going through school, I decided, I'm going to go ahead and eventually own my own thing. So I got my bachelor's in marketing, got my master's in public administration with a concentration in environmental policies. I was one of those guys to help write the environmental policies and regulation type stuff. And I was working for the state of Florida at the time, so it fit, right? And I and the family made a decision that we're going to go full-time in the RV life. We sold our home. But before then, we actually started to reduce expenses. Yes, I said reduce expenses. Sheldon, I didn't hear you. reduce expenses. All right, so surely what does that look like, right? So whatever is coming in income-wise versus what's going out, we really had to take a look at what was going in, going out, because if we're going to do remote work and travel, we had to figure out, all right, what can we cut back on? Subscription services, things like that. Had to start thinking about, where do we want to be? Do we want to travel somewhere else and just leave Florida? But we wanted to do more going around the States and traveling. Kind of started like a plan, my wife and I, when we first really started our family. We were thinking, oh yeah, when we retire or when our kids get out of high school, that's usually the mantra we tell ourselves, right? When our kids get out of high school, then we could travel. And we did it. So first thought is reducing the expenses to see what is the level that you and your partner can be, and with the family and everything, where you're comfortable, not struggling, and you're able to say that you pretty much know where the dollars are going. So that's what we did. We started first with figuring out how to downsize. And since our remote work or remote life looked like going into an RV from a 3-2 home, then we figured, all right, we got to get rid of some stuff. So we did. We started pruning out things that we don't need and got a storage unit. So that's part of our budget. But none, just enough. Not crazy, right? So we did it, started moving, just truly enjoyed the lifestyle of full-time RVers, which we are. So if you guys did not know that, that is me, full-time RV. That's why I tell everyone that I'm not in a sound studio. You're going to probably hear background noise. I'm in a full-time RV. That's my life. We like that. Though you know that I also travel internationally because I spent some time in Vietnam to see my daughter, and my wife and I just came back from 5 months in Mexico. That comes later, whenever you're ready. Or you might literally take your remote work and go to another country. Hang out in Mexico and do your remote safety and health jobs. That's what I did for a little while. So that's truly the story of it all, if it would, is imagine what it's going to take for you guys to live comfortably. A little tight on the belt sometimes. I can admit, sometimes you got to tell yourself no, but that's the first thing. You really want to go ahead and try to figure out, if I'm going to be remote, I could be independent of location, and I chose that option. Let's say you want to do remote work, but you want to stay where you are. All right. It still doesn't hurt to reduce expenses, right? Because you're probably picking up extra work in order for you to pay for some expenses, right? So let's reduce them. Again, there's all kinds of ways of doing that. There's all kinds of people that's their specialty. But I just wanted to tell you, I had to consider that first. And then had to figure out, what is remote work look like for a safety consultant? What can we do? So making a list of what we could do training, we could do audits, and our audits, truly, I do my audits in 2 stages. Go out there in the field and then go back and do the actual paperwork and report part. So when I do an audit for a client, I could drive to the client, I could fly to the client, and then do the physical walkthrough, and then I go back to wherever I need to be. And I've even done this in different countries where I flew in, did the audit, flew back, and then started doing the paperwork for the audit. I didn't need to be physically there after the first walkthrough. There's a couple of things now with video. You could do ergonomic assessments if the person there is basically they're giving you a walkthrough with their phone, and they're doing the measurements for you and everything, and writing that stuff down. So you're going to need an assistant for someone like that, a physical assistant that's at that location. But you can walk them through it. Policy writing, that's a big one. OSHA still has written programs. You could review those written programs. You could create those written programs. That's all remote work. And now with Zoom and all the other teleconferencing services, you honestly could arrange things on teleconference as well, as long as you have people who are on site that really understand hazards, exposure, and you help them through it. So those are some ideas of remote work. You're going to have to get some upgrades in your tech, though. EHS software is really great for when you're doing audits. It's going to help you be more efficient and be able to share your information via email or via a secure network. Zoom. There's a bunch of teleconferencing services that you could use even for training. So those are some of the things that you're going to end up needing to have software. You guys hear me on my nice fancy soundboard, right? And that's something I use for my instructing to make my classes more fun. And I use everything.
Whoa!
I do. I push some buttons, and the students, I let them know ahead of time. And that's, again, just to make it more engaging. There is probably going to be some tech upgrades you're going to need, such as I have mostly two backups, sometimes three. So if we're in an RV park and I'm doing a class or doing some remote work, I use Starlink. I use a hotspot on AT&T. I've had a hotspot on AT&T Verizon at the same time, so I could have alternatives. And then if I'm in an RV park, I'll go ahead. I have a Wi-Fi extender, and I could use the local hotspot from, not hotspot, local signal from the RV park and boost it up a little bit more. And RV parks aren't really that great for signal. Every once in a while you get a great one, so that's like the backup. That's playing F. No. Honestly, it's still available, but I had to do the tech upgrades in order for me to have remote work and be reliable. You won't have the landline. And so that's very important for when you are thinking remote. You also have to think, I do need to spend some technology, some money with technology. I even have an antenna that I bring with me. That's a 30-foot antenna. That's a directional antenna. I kind of raise up, and even though I'm in like a national park or state park, and I raise my antenna 30 feet above the tree level, or at least in a braking, I steer it because it's directional, so I have to steer it towards the local or the nearest cell tower, and then it picks up. That's what I do. So you are going to have to invest in some sort of tech as well, just to keep things moving, keep things going. So it is very important. So far I taught you about my story, taught you about your overhead, reducing that. I taught you about some things that you're going to need for your actual career, and making sure that you're going to produce while you're on the road and be available while you're on the road. So when we come back, I'm going to tell you some alternatives of things you could do, where to look for remote jobs, and just kind of give you some more ideas on this. So after we hear about our sponsors, we'll be right back.
We'll be back with more of Sheldon Primus and the Safety Consultant Show in just a moment.
Safety decisions shouldn't be guesswork. With AgroSphere, you get real-time data, predictive analytics, and industry-leading training designed to keep your workforce safe and your business compliant. Whether you're aiming for OSHA VPP or ISO 45001, our solutions help you document, track, and approve safety like never before. See the future of EHS today at agrosphere.com.
We now return to the Safety Consultant Show. Once again, here's Sheldon Primus.
All right, gang, I am back. So here's how we find some of those remote work. I start with LinkedIn here, and what I did is I hit the job button on the top of LinkedIn, and it says, tell us what kind of job you're looking for. You have to choose a location, so I just did Florida, U.S., where I am currently. Location type gives you 3 types: on-site, hybrid, and remote. So I click the button for remote. And then employment types, I click the button for contract and temporary. So now I'm going to engage that and do next. Oh, I have to select the job title. I forgot that part. So I'm just going to type in EHS. So I'm going to say it's a manager position is what I'm looking for. Specialist or manager. Coordinator might be another one. And so again, I'm going to add all those. So EH&S, specialist, and then I'm going to do EH&S coordinator, and hopefully those 3 things will be good enough for me to go ahead and do this. All right, so then I'm going to hit next, and this is on LinkedIn, so I do not want to share this with a recruiter. Next thing pop-up says, let's the recruiter know that you're opening a job, or you're open to new jobs. I'm not doing that. Then it says get notified when new jobs are posted. I'm not going to do that, but you guys should. I'm just doing this as an example, and I'm clicking through LinkedIn. Man, look at that. Once I hit it, it literally just kind of like opened up a pretty good amount of jobs that are available. So I've got one that's paying $75K to $90K. And the K stands for thousands, from Ryder System Inc. remote, senior site safety health officer, that's also remote, field site safety officer, and the last one was 91,000 to 141,000. Here's another one, environmental compliance manager, that's remote, 140,000 to 160,000 US. So pretty good. Next thing I'm going to do is truly just look for what are the qualifications, make sure that you're truly qualified. I see one that says assistant safety manager with 50% travel. So generally just read through these, look for the ones that are truly remote. There's some that have some remote aspects to it, and just look to see what can I do. Is this something that I could work with, and you're qualified for more than I could work with, right? So that was on LinkedIn. I'm going to tell you guys another one, which is friends of the show, Yellowbird. If you go to goyellowbird.com, I interviewed Yellowbird's ownership a few times on this very show. I even have, when you go to just go to Safety Consultant Podcast, and today's show, you'll actually have a link to Yellowbird, and you just go there. You could sign up as a Yellowbird Pro, and it's a matching service. So you can go back to past episodes that I've had with the team, but the matching service is for people who want to be remote safety professionals or can move into full-time. They get matched up with individual organizations that need safety pros, and the Yellowbird service and system puts them together. So you could do this part-time right now while you're working. You get into the profile, you become a preferred professional, and whenever something hits in your area, you'll get a text, and then you now have to reply to this text, and then you get an opportunity to work remotely or work for someone else. And so that is one of the options. So you want to go to Safety Consultant Podcast.com. Look for today's show, and I honestly can't even remember what name. More like 305 or something like that. But the heading of this episode is going to be Remote Safety Pro: How to Work, Save, and Thrive as a Remote EHS Consultant. It's pretty good, isn't it? So look for that, and then you can go ahead and follow my link, which will give me a referral if you guys sign up, and it's completely free for you, and I just get a nice referral bonus. So that's small referral bonus, let's say it that way, but it's a good company. So go yellowbird.com. And Yellowbird has been friends of the show for a while now. All right, another service I just looked up is ZipRecruiter. I see one that says corporate health and safety in the business section. It's remote. It looks like it is full-time and in the Seattle area. Here's another one, a technician, EHS, $25 to $45 an hour. It says that it is remote. It says that it's fully remote. So actually, it says a few things. It says on-site, hybrid, or fully remote. So I guess you get some options on this one. And they're in Massachusetts. So physically, they'll have an area that the company's from, but you're really looking for the terminology remote, and then you want to see what is the remote percentage. There's a global EHS engineer, which is remote, from 73,000 to 96,000 US dollars, obviously. So there you go. Yeah, another one here that does it by day, and that's remote if they're going to do it by day. $24 to $2,000 per day. How does that work? No clue. But that's what they have. So honestly, you'll have to kind of click through some of those. Here's another one from Indeed.com, and EHS radiation safety manager, hybrid work, meaning you have to go in sometimes, you're in the field sometimes. That's from 109 to 145,000. Safety pros, safety professional, remote work, says 38 to 55. So it's out there. You guys just got to look around, and again, you're looking for criteria that you want to make sure that you meet, but also you're looking for what is the percentage of remote work. All right. So now there's another way for you guys to do remote work. And this is what I do with a lot of the consultants that I coach. And if you want to be mentored or get some coaching in there, just look at the actual podcast clip art. Do they call it clip art? Show art? Whatever that is, cover art. I think that's what they call it. You'll see a QR code with me standing next to the QR code. Scan that code, and then I am taking applications. I have to make sure that we are a match with the coaching, but if we're a match, we'll do this thing. So this is what I tell them. Create your own. Make your own webinars, your own seminars, your own courses. Those are things that you could do that is going to bring in money, that's also going to help facilitate remote work. There's some things that you could do, like I do have my Safety Consultant Blueprint course. So you just go to safetyconsultantblueprint.com. So that's an example of creating my own platform, such as an online course, that can help sustain remote work. Webinars and seminars, same thing. I'm doing a webinar today at 1 o'clock on incident investigation. So when people sign up, this one actually I'm doing as a guest speaker, but I've hosted my own. Do that. So let's say you do a couple of those every month. You have to focus on how to get those filled. And, I help you guys out in my Blueprint course on that one. And there's many episodes about hosting your own event, so you guys could go back to my archives and see how to host your own event. But that is one of the really cool ways of staying remote and helping yourself out, because you are the host of your own webinar, seminar, or whatever. And all it takes is for you to set up your tech equipment, have solid internet, and you're good. There's more than that, right? There's payment systems and all that, but you know what I mean. So overall, you really want to make sure that you just do your best to see and listen out as to what everyone's doing as far as businesses, and see if there is remote work by checking LinkedIn and some of the other groups out there. And I think you guys could do this, man. I do have augmented chapter in my free ebook about remote work. I started doing my ebook last year, and I was about to say, oh yeah, remote work's getting better. And then I had to change it after the year started with a new presidency and everything in the U.S. and seeing some news about remote work in some cases getting taken away. And I had to figure out, all right, that's not the trend anymore. It was last year and now it's not. And there's a hybrid trend on some remote work. But overall, if you go to sheldonprimus.net, you can get your free book. So I want you guys to go ahead and just go to sheldonprimus.net, and you can get your free ebook that's the top 10 EHS trends for 2025, and use that to help get yourself ready for what's going to happen throughout the year. All right, gang. So I gave you a bunch to think about. Remote work is not dead. You guys could do it too. I want to thank Agrosphere for sponsoring this episode. And you guys, go get them.
That's a wrap for today's safety show. Remember, safety isn't just about hard hats and caution signs. It's about business smarts too. Thanks for joining us on the Safety Consultant Show with Sheldon Primus. Until next time, stay safe, stay savvy, and keep consulting like a boss. Go get 'em. The views and opinions expressed on this podcast or broadcast are those of the host and its guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within the past hour, only examples. It should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the positions of the company. No part of this podcast or broadcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast or broadcast, Sheldon Primus.
This episode has been powered by Safety FM.